Welcome, everybody, to Women Entrepreneurs and Real Estate with Candice Duran. I want to go ahead and introduce both of our hosts tonight. To your, let's see, I think it's left right now. You're going to be seeing Georgia Van Kylenberg. Say hi, Georgia.
Hi, everyone.
And then we've also got to our left, I think, or right, again, I'm not sure, Candice Duran.
Hi.
Man, look at this. Everybody's going crazy for you guys already. Well, guys, it is June 20th, and this is going to be the inaugural show of Women Entrepreneurs and Real Estate with Candice Duran. The show is going to be every Friday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, so make sure that you tune in. You can go ahead and tune in and register right now at c2creia.com/women. That's c2creia.com/women. And without further ado, I want to go ahead and start this show and let you guys know that we are all...
Hi, my name is Candice Duran. I'm going to be your host on the show. I'm pretty excited to be a part of this. I'd like to start by thanking everybody for taking the time to join us every Friday night. We know it's your Friday nights, but we're here to make a difference.
Candice, I'm going to stop you right now. Turn your audio down. Like mute your computer, because we're all hearing the echo.
I hope that's better, because I can't hear anybody now.
That's perfect. Wait, so now you can't hear us?
I just want to say thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to text them on the side of the question bar. I know that George and I are both excited to hear it.
Wait, can you not hear us now?
It's okay. I turned you down. Is that better?
Yeah, but I want to make sure that you can hear everybody, because like Steve's even saying that he's got the echo too. So Georgia, can you turn down if you guys have earphones, like if you plug in your earphones, that'll help, because what's happening is when you've got the mic in the computer and you've got the speaker, so you guys are talking and then you're being able to hear it, and it's creating an echo.
Do you have an echo when I speak?
No. But okay, do
you have an echo here?
Okay, you guys sound good. All right, I'm going to stop now. Here, let's we'll start again. We'll start again here, which is no big deal, and we'll let you go in. All right, so welcome everybody. Again, this is Women Entrepreneurs in Real Estate.
That's the one. So again, welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. It's Friday, June 20th. Before we get started, I almost forgot something extremely important. It's my daughter's 18th birthday, so happy birthday, Brooke.
Wow, happy birthday, Brooke.
I know, she's so excited. She wants to go to Morongo after this. So hopefully we make some money for your charity, and that'll be going to a good cause.
I love it.
Me too. It'd be great if we won. So again, I just want to thank everybody for joining us. You'll see with us we have Georgia Van Kylenberg. Woo! See?
That was perfect.
I got this. We're here to definitely try to improve your life, and we're not looking to have a regular webinar. We have one host. I'd much rather see us be a team. We're going to go over several issues over the next few months. Every Friday night. We understand it's your Friday night, but thank you for taking the time to be with us. If you have any questions at any time, please feel free to enter them. We're more than happy. I'm sure you're going to have a lot for Georgia as well. So let's go ahead and get started. My name is Candice Duran. I do have, just so you have a little bit of background on me, we currently own 2 corporations right now, one investing and acquisitions wholesaling company, and then we have a construction company. And I know that George has got an impressive resume as well. Do you want to fill them in?
Sure. Very different, but I love yours. And I had a read before. I was like, man, I could learn a lot from her. So
I was thinking the same thing about you.
We'll share information. If I ever need property development, though, I know where I'm going. Not me. So I work in entertainment a lot, sort of doing voiceovers and kids TV and a lot of really fun things for video games. So I do that now very much more for fun than anything, because my passion is really developed into working with children who need a little bit of something. I mean, I love kids of any description, but I'm specifically passionate about children that either have a disability or are lower income or have an illness of some sort. I want every child to have the chance to be their very best. So that's sort of helping those kids get up there has become my passion. So from that, I am now the executive director of Arts Bridging the Gap, which is a nonprofit that provides arts education for lower income children. I am sort of the public face of alopecia areata, which Pete ASMUS's daughter has, Haley, and that's how we've connected. So I do work a lot, just got back from a camp in upstate New York with kids with alopecia and made a movie about that. And I'm also now the leader, I guess you could say, or the instigator of a happiness epidemic, which is my latest project and ridiculously exciting. So that's sort of the quick version.
So let's talk about the Happiness Project. What about that inspired you to get that started?
I think the inspiration for me came from a few places. I have been through a lot of trials in my life, through eating disorders, abuse, and then hair loss when I was a hair model. So a lot of my life has been about making lemonade out of lemons and all that sort of stuff, and finding true happiness where sometimes you don't believe it's possible. So that's sort of been developing itself as an inspiration for a long time. But my brother has become a positive psychologist, and I became very passionate about that area, hearing his education. So I've been studying positive psychology a lot, and also started along with that, studying a lot about social epidemics. And in reading certain books like Malcolm Gladwell's The Tipping Point and a few other things, I was like, why is it that so many of these epidemics are negative? Why can't it be a positive thing that spreads, exponentially? So I started developing, when I tore my Achilles tendon a couple of months ago and have been essentially housebound and not being able to drive anywhere, and had a lot of time to think amongst working, and really started forming this idea of what if we could create a program that would actually retrain neural pathways the way that positive psychology does, and then also be spreadable, and exponentially. So I created a system where girls do a 5-week program, and at the end, kind of like multi-level marketing for happiness, each one of them gives a letter to another girl to be a leader. So from one girl starts 5 new groups.
That's awesome. I'll go ahead and respond and react to this. You've got Candice. You look dead. Come on, you got to. This is awesome stuff, man.
You have to understand, as a woman, I'm listening to all these things that she's accomplished, and it's amazing. So I'm just trying to take it all in. I mean, there's a very long list. So I guess my first question is, we have all these women and these girls that have to start somewhere, changing their life for the better. So what is it that you suggest that they do? What's a good place that you feel to start that process?
Well, there's a few things. Firstly, the best thing to start, because if they want to do the happiness epidemic, it's a great way, because that's what I was trying to find, and you're so right. It's hard a lot of the time for girls to go, what can I do? What's the start? What will be the first step? And I wanted to make that easy, because it's the getting in that often is hard. It's that first choice. So I've made it easy for girls, in that if all they do is send an email to happytobemeteam@gmail.com, when they send that email saying I'm in, or I want to do this, or I'm interested, I send them everything. They get a package in the mail, they get all of that, and what essentially happens is taken care of for them so that they can get into all the instructions. But that being said, if they're not ready to take that first step, there are certain things that girls can do to help them get to a place where they're even starting to retrain their brain to see happiness. The simplest one for me is to actually write a list every night of 3 things that you're grateful for. So if you just start that, just making sure that before you go to bed, you have a pen and paper by your bed, and every night you write 3 things that you're grateful for in that day, that will slowly but surely retrain your neural pathways to see the good things. And I've seen it happen in many girls. So that's a good thing to start doing. It's part of the epidemic, but I definitely think it would get girls who aren't ready to do the program up to a place where they are.
You know what? I can't agree more. And I know that Pete has a 21-day challenge for adults as well. I think that's a great place to start. I think we were actually talking just yesterday about the fact that all of these girls, they feel like they're stuck. A lot of them feel like they're stuck. They don't know where to turn. They don't have help. And I think that your organization and your platform gives them a place to do that. So I think it's a pretty great plan that you have, and I'm pretty stoked that you started it. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm very excited about it too. It's something that I wasn't, when you start a new thing, it's like anything that you've ever started with your property development or real estate work. You have an idea and like a hypothesis that it will work, and you have to just sort of take that first leap of faith and try it. And for me, we're very much in the first stage, but it was incredible to be at this camp, and I just mentioned in passing what I was doing, and then teenage girls would come up and find me later and be like, hey, that happiness thing you're doing, we'd like to do it. How do we do it?
It works.
And they're already emailing me like, how do we get started? So it's really cool. It feels good that it's being appreciated.
No, people get excited and they want that guidance. I think that everybody's out there, they're all looking for it. It's just finding a way to connect to everybody. Everybody's got a unique set of situations, and that's kind of one of the things that I think is so great about your program. You actually have several right now. You have one for girls with alopecia, which I think is fantastic. I mean, that in and of itself is this huge hurdle you have to overcome all the time. Haley's a great example of that, and I know you're an amazing role model for her. I don't know if Haley's around. Is she around, Pete? I know he said he might be bringing her on later on, so I guess we'll have to check back.
I'm going to get her. She's out at the pool, but what I do want, Candice, can you move the pictures to underneath the video camera so you stop looking to the left, and that way you're looking at the video camera?
I'd love to if you want to tell me how to do that.
Just grab the pictures and slide them over. You can move them anywhere you want. Like, you're looking at Georgia right now, right?
Not sliding.
It's not moving?
Mm-mm. Here, I'll just do this.
See, that's much better. That's because this I'm just showing you, and this is Candice's first time, so it's all good, but this is what you look like you're doing.
I know. Well, it's hard because up until a second ago, she was little.
Well, right, but see, so you got to look at that green dot the whole time. Like, who cares what she, like, all that doesn't matter. And then just as you're listening to her, you know what I mean? It's all good.
Right. So I'm so excited. I want to thank you again for taking the time to spend the time with us today. Moving forward, I'm really hoping that you'll be able to help us in our system, in our way to move ahead and create new ways for women to help themselves. We're going to have many more shows coming forward. Some are going to be based on real estate. Some are going to be based on simple things like budgeting, whether it's your professional, business, your organizational skills are huge as well. And we want to teach women to build that platform. So again, I think that you really give them a good place to go to. I know that today I was actually part of a program which I'd never seen before. I was pretty excited. It was Tea for a Cause, and it was called Youth Hope. I'm plugging them on purpose. This is actually a group that I learned today helps girls and boys as well, but mainly helps give them a hand up. So I think if we can create more groups like yours and like this, I think that it's a step in the right direction. So for the younger groups, we need to really engage our audience and find a way that they can actively participate in giving these kids a chance. I think there's a lot of kids that give up on themselves. So one of the things I kind of wanted to ask you about was your opinion on the glass ceiling. I think women as a whole get the glass ceiling more than we like. And I think one of my questions to you is, how do we move forward? How do you feel about the fact that women have that mindset, and how do we get them to break that barrier?
I think it works in two directions. That a lot of the time it is about empowering the women, and it's also about learning how they can deal with the messages coming towards them, because a lot of what happens around them is also reinforcing that you know, you're not, and I'm the last person to be like, people put women in the corner, but there is a lot that we have to combat as women doing a man's job. So even like saying that happens all the time, you know, like even in relationships and stuff, if you're a powerful woman, you're wearing the pants in the relationship. And to me, I'm like, or I'm being me. Like, I'm not being a man, I'm a woman doing what I do.
Yeah, sorry to disappoint you.
yeah, I'm sorry about that. If you wanted a man, I'm not your lady.
I know, I'm going to wear heels, and I'm still going to be the boss.
Exactly. Hope you like it. So I think there really is like a two-way street that we have to deal with. And I think it's a lot about giving, like you said, the tools are very important for women to have the tools to be powerful and believe in themselves and have a plan that they have in place to keep them feeling good about themselves. Not allowing, because it's kind of like a plan to combat the messages they're going to get. And everybody gets those messages all the time. And if we can find a way that, like for me, I know that working out in the morning is a really good way for me to feel powerful and strong and allow my brain to work through all the things that I want to do and care about. It's like, for me, my working out is my vision board or my vision statements every morning.
So that's your time. That's where you find yourself.
Exactly. That's when I find myself, so that no matter what comes in the day, I feel equipped. I also know that connecting with people that are important to me and that are affirming of who I am and what I stand for is a really important thing to do. And I find what happens if I don't is I start hearing the other people with that, like, oh, that's impossible for a girl, or you're trying to take on too much, or how will that work? How are you going to make money doing that? Like, those voices are going to come. You need to work out a way to have a louder team with positive messages. So that's sort of my feeling, is that it's something we can do on an incoming and outgoing basis, is to have a plan to defend yourself against the voices, including our own, and then a plan to build yourself up. And in the continual practice of what you do and what you do well will allow you the chance, like without you noticing, your subconscious will trust itself and trust you more to just do it.
I love that.
Right. So,
you know,
I mean, your best advice is to jump in, right? And just attack it and make your decision and follow through with it.
100%. Jumping in is so much of it. However, I actually think there's one important part of the jumping in. For example, if you use like jumping into a river as an example of like, you just got to jump in there and get wet. If you haven't tested how low or how high the ground is when you jump in, you could kill yourself. So jumping in needs to happen once you've done a bit of the checking of the environment. I think a lot of people sometimes can like go to these motivational seminars and go to these things and be like, oh, you're right, I just got to do it. And they go ahead and like have an idea tomorrow and start doing it. And my question is, what was your research? What was your planning? What was your strategy? What was your blanket, safety blanket?
Where's your team?
Yeah. Do you actually do this job, or did you just decided you could?
Candice, you're not being seen right now. Your video camera is not on.
Okay.
I
don't know what happened. It just took itself off. Sorry.
And guys, also, if you guys are listening right now and you have questions about anything that they're talking about, please make sure right there on the right side, you're going to see a question bar. Type in any questions that you have. Also in the chat, you can type in a chat so that everybody can see. But this is meant to be engaged. Later on, we're going to have a Q&A session too, where you can ask anything and you can raise your hands and we'll unmute you. But just so you know, also, Georgia, I think it's your computer that is causing the echo, because when I muted you when when I muted you when Candice was talking, I'm looking at something else. But when I looked at you when she was talking, I mean, see, this is what I'm talking about. Stop it, Candice. When I was listening to Candice and muted you when Candice was talking, the echo went away. So it's got to do with your computer must be doing the whole thing, the whole swooping thing.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Can you just turn down the volume on your computer?
I can, but then I can't hear you.
Oh, I got you. Okay. So yeah, so we'll have to work out in the future, Candice. We got to just work on if people can have earphones, because that way it doesn't have the echoing effect.
I mean, I can go and get my earphones if that would help you.
No, I don't think it's that bad right now. But I'm just troubleshooting while we're doing this. That's all. This is a great opening though. Great show. Woo! I'm done.
So I want to thank everybody for spending their Friday nights with us. I know that this is a brand new webinar. We want to thank you for hanging in there while we're working on technical issues. Hopefully we solve them sooner rather than later. So I think it's important, maybe we can lay out for everybody a really good path for them to take moving forward, maybe a good strategic plan. If you want to help me with that? Okay.
Absolutely. I think if I was to, put a very basic framework, because of course everyone's idea is different. Everyone has a different path and different steps.
Right.
But if I was to talk about what has worked for me with my projects in the past, I think the first step is research and evaluation. It's kind of like, for me, it's a weird thing. Like, a lot of the time, I am my business. which is very hard to be objective about. It's a lot easier if you're looking at a house or you're looking at a commercial property and you're evaluating the property, you can be objective.
Yes. Pretty black and white. The market's there or it's not.
Absolutely. And so if for entrepreneurs, a lot of the time who are taking a new business, or for me, like a social entrepreneur, my job is to look at a social setting and evaluate that. You really have to be objective and go, is there a need for what I'm doing? Am I capable of doing this? And what am I going to need to have within my toolbox, within my community and support team? Like you said, we are teams here. Like, strength comes from a team, not a team of just numbers, but of strong individuals that can support you. I read Ty Lopez is a great entrepreneur. I just happened to read something yesterday that really resonated for me. You almost need to create a board member around yourself, like a board of directors around yourself, of people that can be your advisors for different areas. And so if you are looking at a new project and you're like, who do I need in my team to support me? Before you even start doing anything. So you've researched the environment, looked at what's possible, looked if you're capable, and decided you are. And truthfully, you have to be honest. You have to be like, can I do this? Or do I have a good chance of doing this? And then getting your team around you. Then you start going out into the public about it, reaching out, telling people you're doing it.
Right.
And by that stage, you should have also in the planning, like I said, have your toolbox and worked out a structure, like a step-by-step thing. So if we take the happiness epidemic, for example, for me, I'm going to need 150 early adopters. I'm going to need all the materials ready to go for when it starts. I'm going to need funding because it's $5 a girl. So, and I want to reach out to the larger community. So it was like, these are all the things that I'm going to have to do.
Right.
In process.
You have budgeting there. You have everything covered.
Yes.
So
like you don't. It's a great thing. Like you don't want to be caught with your pants down if this takes off. You want to know.
That
like,
might be fun, but that's a different story.
Depending on where you are at the time.
Right.
And for us, bridging the gap, like my company is a big financial company for a nonprofit. Our budget in our first year is 1.3, but our plan is to be in 200 cities in 10 years, and that's 1.3 per city. So
wow, that sounds like a fun day.
Right? So for us,
hey, let me know. I'll help.
Thank you. For a lot of money to be earned that way, especially in a nonprofit environment, you have to plan. You have to plan for scaling up from first day. You have to plan on what's going to happen if something doesn't work. So I've spent a year planning. Like I'm just about to start programming.
So your basic idea then, just to go backwards a little bit here, is to make the decision first, this is what I'm interested in, and to push yourself in that direction. And then before you make the leap, make sure you have that team in place, somebody that can help you do the research, somebody that can teach you about budgets, somebody that if you need education or marketing experience, that's another crucial piece of your team that you have 100%. There in place. So, and I think, you know, you and I could be a great addition for everybody's team. I know I keep telling everybody, you can call me at 2 a.m. I'll answer the phone. I'm sure George will answer the phone.
I will. I mean, I'm a big believer in paying it forward and paying it backwards. Like, you and I both know what it's like to have an idea and go, but how? And wishing we knew that there was someone out there that would say, take this step.
And then you have somebody that's going to tell you, no, you can't do that. And here's 10 reasons why you can't do it. And I don't want to be told I can't do it. That's not a good team. I need somebody that tells me, you can do it, and here's how you do it, and here are the steps you take to do it. And if they keep telling me they can't, I'm going to find a different way to do it.
Yeah. And here's a caveat that I've learned over the last year, I think. And I think it's something that I never ever dreamt that it would have come out of my mouth, because I'm usually sunshine, rainbows, and lollipops, and everything's magic, and you can do anything you want.
Vanilla.
I will absolutely take the time. You wouldn't even, like, people in my life just think, they're like, you don't think anything's bad. I'm like,
yeah.
I've worked in nonprofit now. I definitely have a different perspective on what's possible. Here is something that I will say. I will answer the phone and give advice to someone who's willing to take it or at least try it. I won't keep answering the phone to someone who takes, here's my advice, and then doesn't even try it.
Isn't that the worst? You're just like, you want to help people, but then you're saying, why do you ask me? At least try what I'm telling you. And if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. And that's okay.
That's great. As long as you
and not for you.
Say that. Like, say, I just didn't like the advice. And then you probably shouldn't talk to me anymore because I'm obviously not your board of directors. And that's fine because I'm not going to be the right person. And Candice, we're not always going to be the right people to be on someone's team.
Right. However, but here's where your team comes in. We may know the right person for them.
Absolutely. So. But for me, my big thing is there's a lot of people out there, and I don't mean to be negative, but it's a reality. There's a lot of people out there that believe that saying they're going to do something and talking about it is the same as doing it. And I'm like,
it's so night and day. You know, my favorite is when I have somebody come up and tell me how to do it that isn't doing it themselves. Somebody will come up to me and say, oh, yeah, I'm an investor. I flip houses. And, oh, how many of you flipped? Oh, well, okay.
I'm starting next week. Hey, guys, I got a question for you real quick. Are you guys enjoying this? Because I've got to tell you, man, it seems like it's finding its legs right now. Like, this is enjoyable. You've got Candice that's smiling now. Georgia's smiling. It's like it seems like it's fun to not only watch, but I'm just curious about the people listening. I'd like to know if you guys are interested and if you guys are liking what's happening, because I think this is really cool. You guys are actually talking about some issues that are real right now, and you're talking about ways to overcome them. And I don't know, man. This is exactly what I wanted.
What are you expecting to say? No, we hate the girls. Please take them off. If nothing else, they have two. What? Right? If nothing else, they have two blondes on a screen.
More Pete.
That hopefully they see are intelligent enough to help them, which is our whole goal.
Yes. No, you guys are brilliant. I mean, brilliant. I almost kind of like this too. I think I'm just going to be the voice from above, like on these webinars. And that way I won't be seen. I'll just do all the special effects.
It's like we'll just call you God. That's
Handsome John. I like that. I like that even better. I was going with it because of Handsome John on Don't Wig Out. But man, I'll take. And in fact, Georgia, talk about that too, because you have a great show, not Handsome John, but your show. Ethan Hawke does all of her editing for her radio show, so it's kind of crazy.
He's a good-looking guy. He's a sweetheart too. We have I have a show that I do with Amy Gibson, who is a wig maker, used to be a soap star for years. She also has alopecia. We do a show every 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time every Monday called Don't Wig Out, and it's basically talking about women's issues and hair loss and just trying to create, and like this, like Candice, you're, paving the way for other women to be heard and feel heard and understood and talk about issues. And we were doing that with the hair loss community. And we had Haley on Monday, and she was just a born star. It was the cutest thing ever.
That little girl's a rock star. She is so smart and so fast. And, you expect to see a child that's been faced with challenges, just like a lot of the women that we're trying to help. And here's this kid that never stops smiling, and she's just go, go, go all the time.
Yeah. And truthfully, like, you hit the nail on the head. My job in life is to make people go back to that. Like, we learn so much about what's wrong with life, what's bad, what won't work, what can't work, what shouldn't work, why you can't. You learn that as you grow up. And there's Haley going, I can do anything.
Absolutely.
And that's what kids her age believe. And I'm like, what happened? What went so wrong that we now, as we get older, go, no, I can't.
Right. It breaks my heart. She's so amazing. And then to hear some of the things that she says that some of the kids have told her, and I just wonder where the parents are. We're setting out to make this difference for everybody. You almost wonder, how do you start with a younger group so that these women in society have a stronger platform as they're growing up, and that support that we're trying to give them is already in place. So
yeah, I definitely.
Maybe we'll find a new platform for that.
Yeah, there you go. Like another project. I
have nothing but time.
I like it. There's some good programs starting to come out. I mean, Arts Bridging the Gap, not to talk about my program too much in that way, but we work specifically to introduce arts to children, both guys and girls, to get to experience positive risk-taking, resilience, public performance, teamwork, all of that stuff, which a lot of the kids here don't get because they don't have arts education. So we're trying to do that. But there's another great one out there called Junior Achievement that is basically, it goes into schools and teaches business and entrepreneurial skills to children in lower income areas. And they're phenomenal. And they're actually sponsored by the Clippers. Not by Donald Sterling, by the Clippers. just to be clear for anyone that's listening.
I didn't know that. See, I learned something new tonight.
Yeah, and they're great. They have these incredible tutors that are so fun, and it's all about teaching these children from place, like, because you're right, like, where are the parents? And for a lot of these kids in lower income areas, I don't want to say that their parents aren't available for this, but they don't know it. They don't know this information, so how are they meant to convey it to their children? Whereas these young entrepreneurial programs come in and teach them.
Right. The fact that you're able to get these programs into a school, I think, is the biggest deal. I mean, like you're saying, there are parents that are, it's not by their choice, but the fact that we have to be working women. In today's society, it'd be great if every mom could stay home and just be a mom. That's just not reality right now. So if we can reach these kids in a different facet and maybe make up for a lack of guidance where their parents just aren't able to provide it, then I think that's incredible. And the budget cuts have been so hard. I used to teach, and I used to hate saying it, so we'd actually bring it into the classrooms ourselves as a teacher and say, you know, hey, this is this, and this is what opera is. And I feel really bad. I think that there's a lot of things in life. Opera is a really great example where to go see a real opera is absolutely outrageous.
Oh,
but then you have other programs that are, you know, like the Bridges Auditorium in Claremont. I know that they offer humongous discounts for groups of schools. I think it's fantastic if you could just get the support in the school system and bring them to those shows and be there for them in a different way, then maybe it would be a lot easier for them growing up because they're exposed to more.
And you're completely right, which sort of connects us into the how do you go about something. Because what my company does is evaluate all the work we're doing very closely to see, it's why it's called Bridging the Gap, because we're trying to bridge the achievement gap. We're evaluating the whole time how their academic success and social success is being changed. Now, the only reason that that's part of my organization was in my research. My research showed that there is not enough practical application and evaluation of the effect of arts. And that's what we need to change budget cuts, to change on a long term, to change the arts being reintroduced back into education. That we need that data. And we need that consistent physical and tangible application of it, which is why I do what I do. But without that year of research, who knows what I'd be doing? I might just be like, everyone needs arts, and not doing it in a strategic planning way where in 10 years we have enough data to go to government organizations and bodies and be like, here's the proof, guys. Now what are you going to do about it?
You know, it's actually a really good point that you're making. I think that in everybody's life and whatever business that you're in, whether you're in a company or an entrepreneur, like either one of ours, for example, I think that data is crucial. And maybe that's one step that women can take. It's probably already existing. If they just do their homework, if they say this is the direction that we want to take, that data can be really crucial, whether it's for the school districts or moving their own careers in a different path.
That's right. You're so right, because there's so much information available to us. And this is something that is a bigger picture thing, but it's something for the women out there and for the men to know, but specifically for the women to understand what time they're in. Like, we're in the second Renaissance. In the Renaissance period, people learned to read, and for the first time ever, they got information that they'd never had, and that's why revolutions happened, because they were going, oh my God, the priests have been telling us this. This thing doesn't say that at all. So they started.
And if you're political, I'm sorry.
Yeah. If you are, you can block your ears.
Just to catch you off for a second, if you're attacking you, or just
yeah,
just making a valid point.
Just go like this, nah, for a second.
There you go. Here, let me help.
Exactly. But what's happening now in this, what I use as a second Renaissance, is we have social media and we have the internet. So information that wasn't available to us 15 years ago or even 10 years ago is now readily available. So what is happening in a really exciting way is women are finally, like, we're the gossip queens. That's our natural way of being, is sharing information. Did you hear? Do you know? Did you read? Like, every woman says that
last week.
Right. We all do it. So we're sharing information at a speed that was never possible before. So to any woman that's out there being like, what can I do? We have at our fingertips any amount of information that we could possibly ever want, and we have the natural ability to share it and create community around it. So,
so I got a
question. And it's international now too. So
how do we get women to work more together? because that's one of the things that I was talking to Michelle Patton about. And Michelle's going to be on next week, and she's the CEO of the Women's Conference in California, right? And one of her things was wanting to make sure that, you know, getting women to come together to share, to work together and go, look, it's about abundance. It's about working together. It's about building something with, you know, like there's no reason for us to covet information or hide it, but let's share it with everybody so that we can all grow together as opposed to independently. Does that make sense? How can we do that better?
I think this is a good start. I mean, women coming together, whether, you know, earlier today when I told you I was at a charity event, it was actually the Women's Council of Realtors here for the Inland Empire. This is a group of women that most of them are either lenders, escrow, real estate agents. I mean, every front you'll find somebody. For example, I'm construction. I don't even fit in there, and they've actually been the best group of women I've ever met. So I think any forum that women find to come together is great. And if people take the time, and I'm sure Georgia will probably agree with me, if women take the time to put themselves out there and go to those meetings, I mean, you'd be shocked we get over there, and it's not always about real estate. They'll start talking about Brooke's 18th birthday, for example, or
they all
maybe,
started talking about Brooke's 18th birthday. So let me get this straight. You went to a charity of all women, and the moment you walked in, they said, guys, she's here. Let's talk about Brooke's 18th birthday. So let's wrap this up. That didn't happen? I thought that totally happened. That would have been awesome though, right?
Well,
Wendy Patton got the UN.
I feel so guilty right now because it's her 18th birthday.
Check this out.
I worked till 4 a.m., got about 2 hours of sleep, and this is the devotion that I think people that pick the direction they want to go in. I mean, Georgia and I and everybody else in the entrepreneurial field as a woman are more than happy to guide you. But it's hard on occasion. You have to really fight to get where you're going. I mean, like I said, I worked till 4 a.m., got up, had a meeting with a room full of mortgage specialists, and then went to a charity event directly thereafter, and I'm running. And the whole time, it's my 18th daughter's birthday, so trying to find that balance.
Yeah, and you're right.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I'll touch on that, and then I'll go back, Pete, to the teamwork thing. This is something not for the faint-hearted. Like, there are
absolutely not.
The truth about it is people are made to do many things. The same way that, like, it's not about a woman having a baby or being a mom versus being a business person. There are men out there that are caretakers. There are men out there that are coaches or, like, you know, teachers and then there are men out there that are hard-headed businessmen that do that. I think we sometimes equate it to women sometimes choose to be homemakers as opposed to business people.
Right.
It is about knowing who you are. And there's nothing wrong with listening to this and being like, you know what, I don't know if I want to stay up till 3 a.m. I don't know if I want to jump into water I don't want to be in. I want to make an amazing family, or I want to teach at a school and make an incredible difference at that school. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's beautiful, because without that, we don't have anything. You know, I need somebody to teach a class so that I can go in, do something, and then they leave and nurture those children. That's their job and valuable.
Absolutely.
However, if you are going, is this for me? Know that I work all weekend, all week. I work till 11 or 12. Even more sometimes. I'm trying not to, because I still need to look half decent on camera. But the point is, you never stop working as an entrepreneur. When my boyfriend is always like, "Hey, done working?" and I just smile. And he goes, "I mean, like, for tonight?" Because it's like, it's never done.
Austin the pilot.
There will always be
more.
He's a G5 you're okay pilot. With that, because here's the thing, and I know you agree, Candice, I love every second of it. I absolutely love it. I do not for one moment go, "Oh, I wish I didn't do this." I'm like,
but
oh, man.
Can I just interrupt for 1 minute? When you're sitting there, and this is where I think a lot of women get frustrated and get beat down. When you are a working woman and you have children, they are going to tell you you're not doing your job as a mother. Now, mind you, and by all means, I want to make it clear to the men that are listening, because I know there are a few of you, this is not a man-bashing statement. It's simply reality. You guys get up in the morning, you take your showers, and then you get to go to the office, and you're still father of the year. So for us, I think it's really, really important that women see it for what it is, that it is a complete misnomer. It is not reality. You need to know that you have limits. and take care of yourself. So, for example, I get up early in the morning. Omar is my incredible other half, takes the girls to school for us, and we go to work. We come home. I stop long enough when I'm lucky enough to make dinner, bedtime stories, shower, spend that time with the kids, read them that story, put them to bed, and then I go back to work. Now, not everybody's going to have something that you're looking to change, something easier about yourself. Maybe you just whatever your goal is. Our goal is to help you succeed to get there. But I just don't want women taking a beating themselves, telling themselves they're not good enough because there's not enough hours in the day. You have to take that time for yourself and for your kids. Work is still going to be there tomorrow. I pulled a 4 a.m. last night because I had a meeting, but I chose to do it. So I think the other part, like she was saying before, is getting that team in place. Omar is incredibly amazing. He understands when I have to work late. He works with me, so when I get home at the end of the day, he knows what I have to do. So that helps too. If you get a partner that's very, very understanding, whether or not you're a mom, just as a woman, you really, really need that support. But don't beat yourselves up.
And communication is important as well about what you're working on, what's important. And look, I haven't been a mum yet, so it's easy for me to say these things, but I do work with children. I do understand the children's brain, and I do know positive child development. Being able to communicate and talk with your child about what you have to do, they're old enough to handle it. So instead of being like, mommy's busy, say, this is what I have to do right now. I'm working on this meeting, and I've got to put this paper together. You want to see? This is what I'm doing. And I'll show you in the morning what I did. And that way they see that it's not, I don't have time for you. I'm doing this, and I'm creating this. And it sort of allows them to be part of it. So that's something I encourage.
You're setting a good example. You're teaching kids, you're breaking that by doing that. My daughter even helps with the invoicing. So on the construction side, I might go, here's a stack of invoices, match these up for me. So that's then awesome. She's got a sense of self-esteem and confidence in herself, and she feels good, and now she feels like a businesswoman.
Yeah.
And I think that in order to break that stereotype of the working woman, you have to start with our own kids or anybody else's children that might be around us, the youth, period. I mean, if we can show them and set that good example, look, I may not be, I may not wear dad's work boots, but mommy still runs the company, and that's good. That's a good thing, and that's going to be your company one day, or at the very least, let me teach you some of the skills that I utilize.
Yeah,
so they're going to go out, they're going to be a lot more successful.
Totally. I think it is bringing the kids in from an early age is really valuable. Like I said, I don't have any practical knowledge, so I don't want to seem all holy.
I have 5.
I got a question. Okay, so let's bring this down. So we're talking about learning at an early age would be a good thing, right? Both of you guys agree with that. And we both are, or you guys already stated that moms typically are going to do a lot of the raising of the children, right? So, so why don't we take and attack this in a different way? How could moms actually improve society? Because they have the ability when the kids are young, right, to really start to make an impression. So where does the breakdown happen? Where does the breakdown happen from where the kid feels invincible, like they can do anything, to where the kid feels like all of a sudden life is no more and they're grabbing a gun and walking into a school, right? How do we get it to where we're lifting up these kids and bringing them into a new world and creating a new world with them, using them as the paintbrush? Does that make sense?
It does. It makes a lot of sense, actually. And I think that starting young is still the key. I think that you are setting that precedent. When your child sees you work hard, they're going to have that work ethic. They're going to be more successful in life. They're not going to have a lot of the same views on women as most of the people do today.
And the world's
come a long ways, but not far enough.
Right?
Absolutely. I think there's a few practical things, though, as well, that mums can do. Within all my learning of kids, I mean, there's a difference sometimes, and this is hard to understand because we're not the kind of, like the example you said of going into a school and killing people, like, we can't understand that. That's something
not at all.
That is far bigger than
bad normal.
No, but it's happening.
That?
I mean,
that's beyond normal. I mean, that's one of those things where maybe there's something else going on there, something mentally possible.
Well, there is. And that's just it. It's like that's mental dishealth, like unhealth, it's mental illness. But there are ways to try and ensure that your child has the best mental health possible from an early age. A lot of it, and look, some people aren't meant to be parents and they become parents. And that's something that is hard to deal with. It's not something we can fix in a webinar.
No, and
However,
you know what? I love the fact that you're saying real things, though, because here's what's real. I love that what you're saying, you're not holding back. You're right. Some people are not meant to be parents, and they become parents.
Well, they're not, and this is also, once again, I feel like I'm not in a place to speak particularly other than the fact that I've spent thousands and thousands and thousands of hours with children. So I speak.
That doesn't qualify you at all.
I was going to say, can I just say that you are well qualified to be to speak on a parent's behalf, regardless if you've had them. You've been around kids, done more for children than most parents do. So
that's true.
So don't look at it from that standpoint. You do care about these kids.
Well, thank you. I do. I also just don't want a parent to feel like I don't understand their life.
No. I got you.
That being said, there is when you become a parent, and Candice, I know I'm sure you're a wonderful parent, so I'm more just sharing here, that it's your job to make them your priority when they're in front of you. And a lot of the time, parents don't do that. And that's where a lot of problems happen, when children aren't heard at a very early age, and when they're not allowed to integrate their understanding of emotion and intelligence together.
They start acting
What happens is children grow up extremely disabled in their emotional intelligence. That's when mental illness is created. So a parent must commit, when they have a child, to be able to help their child grow mentally as well as physically. Feeding the child is not enough. Being there to understand, being able to help them, talk them through their emotions, connect them with intellectual understanding so that they grow into having a grown-up understanding of their feelings is an essential part of being a parent. And that's how self-esteem grows. That's how self-worth grows. And because they're not constantly feeling, why don't I understand what's happening to me? Because their parents there to say, I hear you, I understand you, and this is what's going on. And when that happens, children grow up to be incredibly resilient and intelligent and do great things. But
they learn to deal with their problems.
They do. And when you don't understand that, it's like, for me, I'm like, I watch so many kids. Oh, sorry. My screen disabled. I don't know if you can still see me.
Yeah, you're good.
Sorry. I guess I hadn't touched it for long enough. And that's what happens to a kid. If you don't hold them and hug them, they just disable themselves. Perfect example. But it really is about connecting with your child and helping them. As a mom and a dad, you don't have to be there all the time. You don't have to be present all the time. In fact, showing a child that you go away and do something and come back is also a valuable lesson.
Yeah, that's healthy.
And a healthy lesson. But when you are in front of them, that's your job.
Right. And you know what else is really supportive also is getting your kids involved in activities in the community. I mean, they're going to get that feedback from their peers. If they hit a home run in a baseball game, that adds to their self-worth tremendously. So even if you don't have the time and maybe you have a full work week, make that the 2-hour window that you stop your day and say, okay, this is, Brooke's game time, or this is Faith's gymnastic lesson, and I'm just going to be completely 100% there. I'm going to shut off my cell phone, my tablet. Those emails are going to be there, and we're all guilty of it. I'm even guilty of it. I hate to admit it. I try to balance, and it's still every day it's a learning curve.
Yeah.
So it works out really well. I think once those kids they feel loved and they feel nurtured and they feel needed, whether it's the fact that they are helping you with that job or they are hitting that home run, and it's just keeping them involved and being consistent with that. They need that schedule and that same time.
100%. And I think tying it back into Pete's question about women working together, I think it's so funny that there are hundreds of thousands of women, just even in our areas, who are dealing with this on a daily basis, who have the troubles of how do I engage with my child, and they don't share, they don't compare notes, they don't, because they're business women and they can't seem vulnerable. And it's just that thing of like, I think it's so funny that women are scared of each other and yet they're so similar. And so they have a very similar life. And it's like, I can understand being scared of men because they're different. But I hear it all the time. Oh, I don't really want to seem vulnerable. I don't want to seem like I'm having trouble. And I feel like, do you really think that they aren't? Like, they're a woman too with children. They're not perfect. No one is perfect at this. And coming together and sharing in the same way that if you just say, I'm having trouble at work with this, how do I do it? When you learn to share your vulnerabilities, that's how community is created. That being said, there are some women that won't be willing to talk that language and won't be willing to do it, and they'll try and crush you really fast because they aren't willing to feel vulnerable. It's got nothing to do with you. It's got the fact that they aren't willing to show vulnerability. But
so maybe that needs to be part of our whole plight this show for tonight is how do we get women to stop seeing each other as a threat or an enemy? We're supposed to be working together as a team. We all face the same problems, all of us. I know Georgia, we both are in different businesses, and I guarantee you we have the same problems. So instead of tearing each other down, we really need to learn to work together and say, hey, this is the problem I'm having. Maybe we can all work together and learn how to solve it together instead of killing each other.
Yeah, exactly. And I think to understand it, it comes from a place of fear, and I do get that. That when you're one woman in a man's world, as I said before, if you're one woman at a workplace or one of two women, there's a sense of scarcity that makes you nervous and makes you fear-based. And so you start looking at every woman as competition, which I understand. That's a natural animalistic instinct. I've got to survive.
Productive. I mean, I will watch your kids. If you have a meeting, call me. I will watch your kids.
Exactly.
And maybe if I have something I need to do, maybe I have a meeting, I will drop my kids off with you.
Yes,
you got to have that support team.
And but that's just, I think when you build that understanding of the value of team, you look back and go, how could anyone think otherwise? But I think it's women learning the value of female team that is very hard to take. It's like jumping in that water again. How do I trust first?
You know, I really want to point out, I'm looking at it's not really a question, but it made me laugh. It said there's nothing wrong with the woman running the business because they're good at it while the man becomes the house husband. And I couldn't agree more. I just thought I'd share that. I thought it was pretty ironic because here we are as women all struggling to beat each other to the top and hitting glass ceiling after glass ceiling and having to learn ways around that to become so successful, and even on some occasions only a tenth as successful as a man. But to hear somebody else say there's nothing wrong with men staying home, I couldn't agree more. I just want to say thank you.
Yes.
We need more people like you.
And it's true. If your husband's strength is being a dad and being like a minutia guy, I am not a minutia person. I am not good at cleaning the way my boyfriend cleans. It's very clear already.
Do you hear that, men? Get cleaning.
I'm just saying, if he really wants the kitchen as clean as he wants it, he's got a job ahead of him. Because that's the reality. And I'm not a messy person. I just don't see all the spots he sees.
So if he wants it as clean as he wants it, he better get to cleaning.
You can quote him on that. Quote me on that.
I'm gonna cry. I just want to go up to the G5 and go, the pilot, send the main pilot because he needs to clean up the kitchen, please. This is ridiculous.
George said the kitchen's still dirty.
Chicken flies playing this direction.
It is that reality, though, that we're all, as human beings, not women versus men, as human beings, we're all made with different strengths. If you are a big picture person that marries a minutia person, man, woman, 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 man, man, I recommend the minutia person cleans the kitchen.
Yep.
So that's
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm sorry. We're here to break the barriers. That's just going to be one more. Then start cleaning. Please clean. I'll even buy the Tide and the Windex. Here you go.
Yeah. If that's what you want to do, you do it, buddy. I'm going to go off and make the money.
Right? Well, if I'm too busy bringing home money and raising the kids and you want the laundry done, the washing machine is it's there. Yeah. I'll even push the buttons for you.
That's an awesome show. I can just see where this is going to go, man. In like 3 months, this is going to be
we
nuts.
took it there already.
This is going to, it's awesome though. Like I'm loving this. And guys, if you like this, please go out on Facebook and talk about it. Talk about what you're witnessing, what you're seeing. I know that this is different, but I think that's part of what makes this so amazing is how different it is. Look at all the different topics they've gone over in this short amount of time. And I mean, we're not even done yet. Again, if you guys have any questions, and at this point, they're going to keep talking, but if you guys have questions, raise your hand. And when you do, I'll go ahead and butt in and we'll go ahead and bring you on. And this will be the sound if anybody has a question. And that way they'll know that there's somebody waiting to ask their question. So if you guys do, you can raise your hand. If you don't, that's okay too. I'm going to go away now. Go ahead and keep talking.
I just want to say this has been the most fun I've had in ages. I was a little nervous with it being my first webinar, and I'm so glad I got you tonight because it's a little nerve-wracking knowing that you're in front of a bunch of people, but it's been a lot of fun tonight. So I just want to say thank you for joining us and for making the first night so much fun, Georgia.
Well, you wouldn't know, Candice, at all. You're very comfortable and relaxed. So thank you once again for being vulnerable, because by the way, you just completely exemplified what I'm talking about. So many women walk around looking like they're doing just fine. And I think that's where we decide that no other woman is a little nervous or a little worried about stuff.
Yeah,
I would have no idea. So thank you for sharing.
No
also,
problem.
if real quick, and I don't want this to end yet unless you guys are done, but I didn't mean to stop this from moving forward. Cynthia had a question. She said, where would she get a hold or contact Georgia, if at all possible? And Cynthia, I would love to be able to give you Georgia's information, but she really doesn't like it when people look at her or talk to her or call her phone.
Yeah,
she's actually from Mars.
I knew it.
I was so lucky. Like, she had to contact us. If we tried contacting her, she like sent her goons out to beat us up. But on the rare possibility, Georgia, that you would allow somebody else to talk to you, how would they get a hold of you?
Well, there's a few ways. That you may be able to start. It depends. If she wants to get in contact with me about the happiness epidemic, the email
I'm sure that's probably what it is.
happytobeme@gmail.com. Once again, those teams. happytobeme@gmail.com. Or if she wants to talk about Arts Bridging the Gap, which is the arts for lower income children, it is info@artsbridgingthegap.org. That's info@artsbridgingthegap.org. And if it's a personal issue, you can email me, but don't just email me. I mean, I'm not saying for Cynthia, but if anyone else is listening, if it is a business-related thing, it's better to go through the email because I check those at different times in the day. The personal thing is Georgia Vanc, so VANC @gmail.com.
But
I tend to try and stay on that one morning and late at night.
Why not though? What's your Twitter? Because that's a great way to contact you too. That's how Shannon even got in contact with you. Was
Twitter is my main social media thing. So that is Twitter and then .com/Georgia Vanc. But if you type in Georgia Vanc on Twitter, it comes up.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. When you type in Georgia Vanc on YouTube, it comes up as well, doesn't it? And guess what it says? I don't know how to do this. How did you get that so that it comes up with Georgia Vanc and then says animated character? How do you do that? Because mine doesn't come
I have to say, it was a proud little weird moment in my workaholicness one night when I went to type something in and typed Georgia Van into Google and I came up. I was like, man, I beat out the van companies in Georgia. Yes.
Isn't it the weirdest feeling to push a button and you see yourself there? You're like, oh, hi.
Yeah, and things you don't even know are there. Like, as the internet gets more complex and more entwined.
Yeah, you can find out about our pasts, our companies, where I live. That's a little unnerving. It's not that I don't want to welcome all of the people that need help, but to have them line up outside of your door might be a little scary.
There's some very, very weird things. For example, I don't know what it is, but Russia or the Eastern European companies seem to be quite endeared to me. I don't understand it. But I get an email probably every day now from somebody who speaks broken English, and it's such a joy to read. Like, I love the emails because they don't really make sense, but if you can work through them to work out what they mean, they're quite entertaining.
They are. Now I got a question for you, Georgia. You've been interviewed a lot. You've done red carpet. What have you liked about tonight and about this webinar that has been different than other ones, if anything?
Very simply.
Well, it's because of me.
I'm sure it is.
The host, who's made it truly the best ever. There is one thing in particular, but it's kudos to you, Candice, for doing this. A lot of shows out there, and I know that nothing that Pete ASMUS does would not have this as part of it, but a lot of shows out there do a show where they talk and talk and talk and talk and talk about what's hard and what I can't make work, and let's all sort of be a pity party together and talk about all the tough stuff, and or the opposite. This is amazing. This is so great, and let's do this and that and the other. And then it's like, okay, do it. Whereas, Candice, you're very clearly about what are the steps, like what are the things that we can do? What's the first step? What are the stages of this, and what are the things to consider, and what do you need? There has to be a process. There has to be a strategy.
There's a system. We have systems in place, just like in business. You have to have that system. And if you're going to be that girl that's going to sit there and tell Georgia and I, hey,
or not say anything at all, right? I mean, if you're just going to be that girl that's going to get up there and then shut up and not say anything, well, then by all means, you can be frozen.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've got to get yourself up.
I have no idea what just happened. That was awesome.
You froze there, Candice. We were like on the edge of our seats.
You said,
what's she going to say?
If you're one of those girls that gets up and then it just went...
Okay, if you're one of those girls, let's do it again because it's important.
Okay.
That is going to tell Georgia and I that you're stuck in a situation or that you don't have the education you need or you don't have the support that you need. It's a lie. George is living proof. I'm living proof. We could probably name a million other women who have done it. So let us help you get there. I don't know that we're going to be the best, but we're here to help. And we will have a lot of other people as well that want to help. So you got to take that first step.
And let me answer something with a practical step here as well. If you are somebody that's saying that education is a problem, and I agree, it is something that stops you at the beginning. If you don't have the education, a lot of the time people want to see that. They want to see that you know what you're doing. And sometimes you need to know certain things. Even if you're like, I'm a bit of a, home genius at this, there are some things you probably haven't considered. It's no excuse anymore because there are so many online free courses. Let me give you an example. I just finished a course from Northeastern in purposeful giving that was free. I'm currently doing a certificate in early childhood positive behavioral support. I soon start a leadership for social change for Acumen, which is free with a donation. And then I'm getting a certificate from Berkeley for the science of happiness. Now, I'm not trying to show off. It's not about, look at all the stuff I'm doing.
What did you just say?
The point is,
no. You're not even allowed to go past the whole Berkeley comment. Go back to that.
Well, this is what I'm saying, is that it cost me, I think, to get that certificate, you make a donation. I can't remember the amount. I think it was like $60.
What?
And it's an official certified document from Berkeley. When I finished the certificate course, I mean, I'm doing it in September. But when I finished, I have a certificate from Berkeley saying I have a certification in the science of happiness from Berkeley. And it's free, essentially. So if you go on, there are what they call MOOMs now, which is like multi-online, I can't even
organize. Can I get inspiration? Can I be certified in the science of inspiration?
That is so cool. I want to do it.
But it's the one that I use is edX.org. And there are incredible courses online there that you can get, and they're run by credible universities like Northeastern and Berkeley. I mean, these are not small. Washington University is where I'm currently studying. So I get them for free, but I then have the knowledge. I did a project management one last year because I realized I needed to know more. And then I do it, and it's not a lot of time. It's like 5 hours a week. And if you can find those 5 hours in 8 weeks, you finish with more education and more credibility. So education is no longer an excuse.
I actually had a chef, an owner of a restaurant, one day tell me that he would rather hire somebody off the street that he can put as an intern. I know that particular guy actually pays his chefs that are coming in, but he would rather hire somebody off the street than to go hire them out of Cordon Bleu. Not saying anything negative about Cordon Bleu, just simply stating the fact that there are ways around it. If you don't have the time, you don't have the money, but you want to immerse yourself in whatever you're going to do, you're going to be more successful. So make sure that you leave that open as an option also. Become somebody's intern. Offer to work for free, maybe an hour a week. You're going to see firsthand. You're going to get more in-depth knowledge, and it's not going to necessarily be limited to a book or a homework assignment. I should make that a homework assignment for everybody this week. You know what? Do this. Go out, find what you want to do, and I want to find out. Email us, Put it on Coast to Coast. Let us know what your goal is and what you think educationally you need to get there. Maybe we can all help them.
And then
Bring
they
it.
can also tweet it.
Go.
They can tweet it and use the hashtag C2C Women.
Awesome.
C2C Women.
Please do, because we do care about that stuff.
And that will so Candice, everything that you start giving out from now on in this webinar, I'll even make a new infographic and put the hashtag C2C Women. That is going to be your hashtag. So all these little things that you give out now, everybody, when you guys tweet them, when you hashtag or Instagram them and everything else, do that so you help build this brand and build this awareness. Because again, man, I'm so excited. I don't even want this webinar to end. And I'm not saying it's anywhere close to being done, but I love what's happening. Like, it took a little bit to get off the ground, but holy crap, you guys have been like sailing now. This is phenomenal. If I could just get Candice to move just a little bit more close to the screen too, like, yeah, see that. Oh man, look at your eyes just lit up. That was awesome. See, yes, just like that. Lean forward just a little bit more. I'm going to show you something.
Okay.
Candice, and just smile. Yeah. Like that, and smile.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Okay, exactly. Now we can see you. You're engaged. That's so much better. And guys, if you're watching right now live, tell me if you think this is, oh my God, this is so much better. If you think that's better for Candice, or if you like the other version where she was up against the wall like a mummy. Either one, you just tell me which one you like.
That's not even a wall. The wall's way back there.
I know. That's where you were. Okay, keep going.
I just want to add something on the internship thing. You're completely on, Candice, because in the industry I've predominantly worked in, entertainment, most of the huge executives, the people that are earning the big bucks and have the powerful jobs, which is also why sometimes power is mismanaged at the top, is because they started in the mailroom. They started as someone's assistant. They started as an intern, and they just worked their way up. And it's the common story. It's not the anomaly. It's the common story. If I started in the mailroom at CAA, and now I'm one of the partners at CAA.
See, I actually came on as a project manager, actually an assistant project manager. I wasn't even a project manager when I started. And now I'm lucky enough to be a partner in one of the greatest companies on the planet. So you got to just do it. You have to go in. It doesn't matter what level. If you have to start as an intern, start as an intern. Do the time, get the knowledge you need to get. She showed up and brought Omar,
like, didn't leave. Like, she wouldn't leave. Like, that's how she got the job.
I didn't.
She didn't leave. She kept coming and showing up like she worked there. And he was like, I haven't even hired you. And she's like, great, well, here's your coffee. I'm going to go run do some copies over here. What is going on? Like, I have not hired her. What is up? And she just kept coming back, and she made it happen. And that's awesome.
Sometimes, and that's just
I know I did it.
A lot of the time it's about continuing to show up where other people won't. Mm-hmm. And I say that to a lot of people in entertainment when they're like, I just don't know, I've been here for 5 years and nothing's happened. I often say to people, it's a numbers game, and the people will drop away. The numbers get fewer and fewer. And if you just persist, if you keep going, if you keep doing what you do, and if you love to do it, one day you'll be out there by yourself standing alone because other people give up.
Yeah. Don't be the one to give up. You don't have a reason to. You've got us.
See, you got support from team.
Yes. Oh.
Did that answer your question, Pete?
Yes, that answered my question. Absolutely.
Okay, good.
What do you want me to give you another one?
I have one question for Georgia. I want to know what you can tell women and what your advice is to women who get that urge to regress back and try to go back to their old ways once they've made the change and they followed our advice. How do we keep them from saying, I'm tired, I don't want to do it anymore, I'm going to go back because that's all I know?
That's a great question, because we all get in ruts. Things can happen. You can get struck by depression if something happens, and then you're stuck for a little bit because it is literally a physical and mental rut. I think there are a few things we can do. There is that plan. If you create that happiness plan and that strategy to keep yourself, whether it's exercise and gratitude list and all those things, if you realize that you're dropping back, what aren't you doing on your plan? Like, what aren't you doing in your normal day-to-day activities that you knew helped you feel good? Mm-hmm. But there's also something about, and this has sort of become a common term, but having an accountability buddy. Having someone in your life that you know you can go to, and in an honest, open, non-judgmental forum, if you can call them and say, I've dropped back, I'm questioning myself, or I just don't really feel like doing it this week, know that they're going to be the loving support, but the tough love support that kind of says, okay, so what are we going to do? What are we going to put in place to get back there? And I'll call you tomorrow to check you're doing it.
That's kind of like your epidemic, right? Isn't that kind of what you did with the happiness epidemic, except you got 5 of them?
Well, that's also part of it, is there's a level of accountability with the happiness epidemic that they meet once every 5 weeks to check in on how they're doing with their things, and then they do 2 steps to be really, really happy to be you each week of the 10 steps. So by meeting once a week and talking about what they've done, if they haven't done it, people are going to know. So it's a way to make sure that somebody is keeping you accountable.
That's a good plan. It's like your 21-step plan, Pete.
Yes, it is. It's
No.
similar.
Did we lose him?
In fact, we're putting her system into our Thinking to Succeed project, because it's different, but it's in line. Does that make sense? It's like a bolt on to it. It adds on to that challenge, because my challenge is about writing down your goals every morning. Hers is about taking different steps to become happier. And I think that writing down your goals, one of those should be to be happier, right? So that her and I'd love to speak more on it, but she's so rude. All she did was make it for girls, because she thinks only women need to be happy, which totally pisses me off. And I do it more than anybody.
No, that's not true. So I did it for women first because I'm a woman.
Because she's sexist.
And I know how to make women happier.
She hates men.
However, there is a male program going to be developed once we reach our 150 early adopters on this.
Called Pete is Awesome, the male version. And it's going to be awesome. And Austin,
I just think it'll be a little bit different. I don't know if you're all going to be wearing your wristbands.
No, but I will take Austin the pilot down, just so you're aware of this. I will do whatever it takes. I'll put a, never mind. I'm going to just say mean things right now,
Pete,
and I don't really mean them. So
you and Austin the pilot could work as a team.
Ooh, I like that.
There's a new concept.
There you go. We can have 2 captains on this plane, this jet G5.
More captains, the better.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I love him too. So it's all good.
He loves you too. All you guys, especially Madison.
Yeah, well, Madison. By the way, did you see the video where they sang him happy birthday?
I did. He was pretty moved by it.
That's pretty cool, right?
Very cool.
Yeah. So, and Candice, did you see today's video where they talked about your video? They talked about this today on their motivational video.
You know what? I didn't see it, but now I'm going to go watch it.
They absolutely
I love
did,
the girls. And I have to tell you, the girls sing that song, the Everybody's Awesome song.
Yeah.
Everything is awesome.
Yep, that's it.
So, Pete, a quick story, completely not appropriate for this, but
perfect.
I'm going to
keep
tell
going.
you anyway. Laura will appreciate it. There was another alopecia girl out there called Laura Duxta who the girls love, and she watches the videos, as you know, Pete.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have children, or doesn't really get involved with children's movies. She thought that was their song, and she heard some other girls at this camp going, "Everything is awesome," and she comes up to me and goes, "Do you know that there were some kids singing the ASMUS girls song?" And I was like, "Oh, that's the Lego movie song."
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh."
Yeah.
It's, you know what though? I'm going to get it to eventually where they're going to sing Alopecia's awesome. Alopecia's cool when you're
all day long.
A team, right? Yeah, it's
well,
going to be Alopecia's
by the way,
awesome.
Ken, that could be our theme song, seeing as we're talking about working in teams. Everything is cool when you're working a team.
Yeah, when you're part of a team, because we're going after our dreams. It's exactly, yes. And what do you guys...
Pete, let me just quickly address something you said with the integration of the thinking to succeed and then happiness.
Yes.
I actually think that's extremely important. And I had a chat to Austin the pilot today, and he wouldn't mind me saying this, I don't think. And it really is something that I think is important for people within this. A program like Thinking to Succeed is awesome, and it is great, and it's wonderful. There is a danger that comes with a lot of motivational, transformational work towards a goal, is the not appreciating where you are in this moment. I'm not saying that that happens with you, Pete, but it's something that can happen quite a bit with people, is they're so focused on where they want to be that it affects negatively who they are today. They see themselves as less than, that they're not good enough today, And so they just are like, when I get there, I'll be happy. When I get that amount of money, when I have that house, when I have that thing on my vision board. Hi, Madison.
Hey, Maddie.
They
said hi.
know that they're going to be okay then, and therefore are not happy today. So integrating a happiness program to make them appreciate who they are right now is an essential part, to me, I believe, of looking forward.
I agree. I mean, you spend so much time going backwards trying to be who you feel you're supposed to be that you don't realize how great you are right now. I mean, right now, for you to even be able to say, this is where I want to be, means you're already on that path. So she's right. She's absolutely right. You need to be able to appreciate where you're at that point, and don't miss too much time with your family. Your job, I can't say this enough, your job's going to be there tomorrow. I still work on telling myself that every single day. It's a chore, but make sure you guys are getting a lot of rest and taking care of yourself.
Yeah, it's true.
So real quick, Haley, and here I'll go ahead and turn this back on. Georgia was just saying that when she was at camp with Laura Dukesta, right? That Laura thought that Everybody's Awesome was your song, and she heard somebody else singing it and thought, oh my gosh, other people are singing. Look, what are you doing? Crazy. Your sister is so weird. So you were going to interview a little bit today too, right? You were going to talk to them about some of the stuff that you had to overcome. Yeah. What were you going to say?
Haley, say hi.
Here. Now you can hear. Now you can be part of the conversation. Come here.
Hi, Haley.
Hi, Cameron.
Hi.
Hi, Georgia.
Hi, beautiful girl.
I can't hear.
She's so cute. She's so shy. Usually she's running and carrying on, and I just love her.
I met a whole lot of girls that look like you this week.
I don't see anybody talking. I don't know what's going on here. Are you talking? Are you supposed to be talking? Okay.
She is.
If you don't want to talk, that's okay.
Aw, she's shy. That's all.
Yes, you.
We'll get her next time.
You want to hear yourself say hi? Here you go.
Oh.
Hi.
Hi, Madison.
You could.
Austin says hi.
Today, right? Okay.
So, Candice, I'm going to have to fight Madison for Austin.
Yes, she is too.
Madison's got a bit of a crush on my boyfriend.
You're in trouble.
That face? How do I compete?
I have no clue. You're beautiful, but that's some pretty tough competition right there.
Look, I know where my limits are, and Madison's far above them.
Hey, you have no limits. That's what this is about.
Sorry, right. I meant like in the face department. We can't change certain things without a lot of money.
So let's talk real quick, because I know that you guys gotta probably go here pretty soon.
I do actually have to go. I have someone turning up here very soon.
Okay,
they may walk in on this talk.
So then I'll go ahead and I want to say thank you to everybody for listening. I want to say thank you. Please share this, share what we're doing, share the movement, share what Candice and Georgia are talking about. And if it moved you, if it made something, if it did anything, get it out there on Twitter, on Facebook, and hashtag it, hashtag C2C Women. With that, I'm done. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys do your whole thing for signing off. And I want to tell you guys, I thought you did a fantastic job, and I really appreciate your time tonight.
You know, can I just say that if it weren't for you, we wouldn't even have this show. So we have to actually take it back to you and say thank you. With any luck, we're going to change the world one woman at a time. That's our goal. And Georgia's a great place to start that journey. So definitely look her up. Find her on Facebook, Twitter. I know she's giving you all the information. I'm sure if you go on to C2C, they're going to definitely have her information as well. So go ahead and take a look there.
Thank you, Candice, so much for having me on. I think this is so valuable, and there are very few women out there allowing themselves to share really helpful tips, and putting themselves out there and telling their story to help other women. So I think it's so valuable and so wonderful, and it really is going to make a difference.
Oh, thank you. Well, with any luck, that's going to be the plan moving forward. I know we have great people coming up in the next few weeks, so be sure to tune in next Friday. If you have friends, daughters, any woman on the planet, any man on the planet, as you can see, it's almost like a Cosmo magazine episode, which is kind of fun. Hopefully educational at the same time. So please let them know about us. Connect them. Do anything that you can. Get the word out there so we can definitely start changing the planet one woman at a time.
I like that. That's your tagline now. Changing the woman one Changing the planet one woman at a time.
Changing the planet one woman at a time.
Guys, thank you so much. Have a great night and go make something happen. Because, hey, without you, there is no us. You put the Y in our success. Have a great night.